Okay, it is 7:30. I think we can start the meeting, and we'll start by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item of the agenda, the chair would entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda with suggested motions and resolutions. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of passing the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next up, I believe we have the superintendent and staff reports.
Thank you, Chair. I am delighted to call up Dr. Cochran and Mr. Engelhardt and Ms. Veracek. Did I hit everybody that's coming up? Alota, are you part of this too? Nope. Okay. I'm excited to call them up to give us a really exciting update on the world of Fridley Middle School. Thanks for being here tonight.
Well, good evening. I think I know many of you, but I'm Amy Cochran, principal at the middle school, and along with me is Carrie Veracek, who's our MYP coordinator, and Matt Engelhardt, who is our assistant principal. And we are here just to share just some really exciting things that we have been working on this year. So Carrie's going to kick us off and talk a little, make sure I know how to use the clicker here, maybe. There we go. We're going to share three things, and Carrie's going to kick us off. One, we wanted to share, we have been working really closely with the Lavinia group, and we'd like to share some updates on the work that we've been doing with them within our math department. We have a new summer program that we're really excited that we are kicking off, and would love to share some updates around what our new summer programming is going to look like. And then finally, one of our goals this year was really working on community and parent involvement, and just want to share kind of some of the things that we've done around getting our community involved. So Carrie's going to start us off and share some of our work with Lavinia.
Hi, everyone. Is it down? Oh, up. Backwards. There we go. So fancy. All right, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about Lavinia Group. We have been working with a woman. Her name is Sheila. She's been coming in as our as our consultant to work with us, and specifically around our math department. Right away when we started, we kind of talked about these like 5 focus areas with the Lavinia Group. So the focus is all around increase in student achievement in math, really creating access, opportunity, and belonging for all students, regardless of what level you're at, where you're testing, and whatnot. What does that look like? Thinking about what it looks like to increase student engagement in the classroom and through differentiated activities, really focusing on our beliefs, having those like kind of really intentional discussions around what do we believe in our practices and at our core, and how do we get there. And then to evaluate and reflect on our current systems and supports around math. So in middle school, we have our 7th and 8th grade as a block class, so really taking a look at how do we utilize that time, how is it structured, and then all the scaffolding throughout there. All of our conversations with our math team can all be brought back to these 5 focus areas. So right away we started with really making it personalized learning. We are taking a look at student work. We're analyzing the data that we're collecting, and really thinking about how to create that personalized instruction so that we can get students to grow and achieve with their math scores, and really closing some gaps that we are seeing in some of our classes. We're really looking at our data and using our data to inform our practices, right? So always coming back to what's the reason that we're making these instructional moves, and having those conversations with our teachers. And then again, just focusing on that continuous improvement. So how are we continuing to get better and better every time? Again, with a focus around the data and how we're using that to really make those judgment calls. And at the end of the day, around our educational equity, right? So thinking about how are we identifying and addressing the disparities and ensuring that all students can really reach the full potential. Again, all our conversations they revolve around these four focal points. So when we think about then what does that look like for students, really creating that math understanding around like what is the meaning versus just giving me an answer. So a lot of our conversations are about like, show me the process, show me your thinking, how are you communicating in math, and then we'll get to the answer because everyone thinks differently, and really honoring the multiple perspectives and the different ways that we can think around math. Really giving that intellectual preparation around the conceptualized thinking and the why behind why the math is working a certain way, and then to continue to build independence. And so again, like having those conversations from 6th to 7th to 8th grade, and to continue to push and grow and build their independence, and ultimately having just a love of math, right? We're here, we're excited, and we're continuing to learn and grow together. One of the examples that we have, so I just took a snapshot of our 7th grade math data. And so when you're looking at this, essentially what we did was we took, every teacher took a look at students in each of their classes who were testing at a kind of a partially meeting standard, and we really looked at what is the data that we're collecting around those students and how do we get them to grow to the next level, right, and continue to push them farther, right? So if you look here, we have, for example, at the top, the students who were in the spring of 2023, so from last year, the breakdown of that, where we had 0 exceeding, 12 meet, 16 partially meet, and 26 does not meet. So just looking across that top row, those students shifted to now we have 4 of those students are now exceeding, 14 of them are now meeting, 22 of them are partially meeting, and then we have less in the does not meet category, right? So really taking a look at where are the students testing and performing, and how are we really focusing on this kind of core group, and then building what we need to in our class so that we can see growth. So again, it's just like a mini snapshot of one of the examples that we have. We did this with every grade level, each team. So it's really, really great to have these conversations and to be really intentional about what data we're collecting and then how we're utilizing that to inform our practices.
All right, so we have loved our work with Lavinia so much. Oops, I'm going backwards, I think, here. That we are going to continue to work with them over the summer and kicking off a new summer program that has 2 parts to it. So the morning portion of our day is called Summer Rise, and it, again, is utilizing curriculum directly from the Lavinia Group. And it is a 5-week program, and really the data that the Lavinia Group has shown from all of the different schools across the nation that have used this very set curriculum with really solid professional learning, as they've seen like triple-digit gains in students in like those short 5 weeks. So we are really, really excited to offer this to our students this summer. The components in the morning are literacy and math, and so really helping students kind of re-fall in love with those. And Carrie kind of mentioned one of the things we're doing with our math students right now is really kind of focusing on how do we have a love for math. Sometimes students get kind of closed-minded, and so really having them really understand math. Why do we do this? What are we doing? So the summer program will really help us do that. And then you can see some of the novels that students will be reading. So really kind of culturally relevant novels, really helping students, again, reading for meaning, really understanding what they're doing. So we're really excited about our morning portion of our day. So this is kind of what a student day would look like if they are joining us for the whole day. The whole day is no cost to students. So they'll start off their day with breakfast. They will get a block of the literacy in the morning. And then they will transition and have a block of math shortly after that. And then if students choose to stay with us, so that's going to be from 8 to noon, they'll get their math and literacy components. If they choose to stay with us, which most of our students are choosing to stay all day with us, our afternoon will consist of enrichment, where students will get to choose 1 or 2 activities that they will participate in the afternoon. And we have between 11 and 15 offerings each day for students to choose from. So we're really excited about this, and it's everything from pottery, board games, calligraphy, art club, culture club, music theater. We're gonna do a kind of kickoff to middle school for our incoming 5th graders. We're gonna do a kickoff to high school for our incoming freshmen, because we will be serving students in our rising 5th graders. So incoming 5th graders through incoming 9th graders will be joining us for the summer program. And all of these things are things that we will let students choose from. Swimming lessons, photography, soccer. So lots of really cool things for students to be able to do in the afternoon. So currently right now we had 205 students that are enrolled with us. Again, majority of them, only a handful are coming for the afternoon only. Most students are opting to come for the full day. So they'll get the math and literacy component in the morning and then stay for that enrichment. And it's been really wonderful. We've been partnering with community education on ensuring that we're really able to offer a lot of different programmings for students. We have 14 teachers joining us this summer. A piece of their component that they'll get in the morning as staff is they will get to join a professional learning group that is of teachers around the nation that are teaching the exact same thing, and it's timed so that they're all teaching the same curriculum on the same days. So they will connect virtually with those teachers and get really solid professional learning around what's happening in their classrooms, and again, ensuring that they're delivering the curriculum at a really high level. So our program dates are June 24th to July 25th. The teachers will spend the week before that in training with the Lavinia so that they're getting really solid professional learning around the curriculum, really understanding what does it look like. Also, our Lavinia consultants in both math and literacy are going to join us on the first week, where they will come in and do model lessons for our teachers, and then they will stay and observe our teachers and really give solid feedback around what does that lesson look like within the classroom. So our teachers are going to also walk away also with their professional learning, so it's kind of a win for students to be able to really grow in math and literacy, and then for our teachers to receive really strong learning as well.
All right, hi everyone, good evening. Go Wolves, I like a shirt. So, as Dr. Cochran said, one of our big goals this year, and really the last couple goals, is community involvement. I think a lot of times that when we talk community involvement, we're kind of narrow-minded a little bit, and we think students, parents, and like family members. As many of you know, at the middle school, we like to think outside the box and think kind of big picture of a lot of this stuff. And so one of our focuses this year was not only to continue with the community involvement with parents and families in our building, but also to extend that outreach to community like further out. So local businesses, local activities, and we really are trying to find a way to like bring the greater Fridley community outside of just, you know, the kids in our school and the parents in our school, and really have everyone be a part of what we do. And so we'll kind of just go through some fun pictures, wrong way. First thing, our middle school block party this year was amazing. We had huge turnout. Thankfully, it wasn't 95 degrees again this year, which made a huge difference. We invited community from local restaurants to Springbrook Nature Center. We actually worked with the Santa Foundation, which is like a St. Paul company, or foundation, I should say, but they donated for the day that big giant inflatable soccer field, which was a massive, massive hit. We have community members, and then obviously we have so many families that show up. Our goal this year is to make it even bigger and better. Our goal is to partner with Fridley High School, have it at the exact same time on the same night, and really make it like a citywide thing, right? So like block off the street and just have food trucks and make it really a fun event where we are welcoming our students back to the building. I'm bad at this clicker. The other thing that we are continuing to do is bring families into our building for different events. These are pictures of families coming in, reading with their students in the media center. This is primarily with our 5th grade students. This was something that wasn't technically our event. This was put on by the governor's office. But one of the things that's been really amazing this year is we've had so much at the middle school, just like really great press. We've had a lot of really amazing things. We were so happy to open our doors for this announcement and to host the governor and his staff members, as well as government staff from, across the nation. It was really, really awesome to be able to invite them in, have the governor serve food to our kids. Our kids felt like celebrities that day, which was really awesome. And just really fun to, like I said, open that up and bring them into our Fridley community. Polar Plunge is always a big hit every single year. Welcoming Special Olympics Minnesota. Had a ton of kids come out again to this weather. This year was seasonably warm, which was fantastic, so it wasn't as painful to jump. But we had a ton of kids jump, raised a ton of money for Special Olympics, had a great pep fest as well. African American Parent Involvement Day has been a big hit in our building. As you can see, our lovely Alota Sims is on the left hand side of that picture, is so great about helping organize this event. Bring parents in to have a meal and just come be a part of what we do every single day. The annual spelling bee, Fridley High School, shout out to Fridley High School. They opened their doors to the regional spelling bee this year. We were able to participate in that at the middle school as well. We had a couple kids who made it to the regional round, which was super, super awesome. This is something that we plan to just keep growing. But the excitement this year from our kids, Mr. Gilbert up there on the right-hand side was very, very excited to make it to the next round. Shout out to our families as well, and that's something that's very, very important to us at the middle school. We have just the best families. You all come out. Many of you are in pictures that have been taken over the years as well. Our families are so great about supporting our teachers, oftentimes donating meals on conference nights. And just, I know how much our teachers appreciate that. They rave about all the food, especially the cow soy from one of our board members up here. Big hit every single year. But no, it's such a cool thing for our parents to come in and just support our teachers. It feels there's so much love in the room, and we all know how much a home-cooked meal means to people. Bingo night was amazing. First one at the middle school. We didn't really know what to expect. We know the elementary, it's a massive event. I would be remiss to not mention that we were a little scared of what exactly to expect that night, especially 5 minutes before the event when we had like 4 families in the gym. But it was amazing. It turned out that our gym filled up just out of the blue. People just showed up. And our community members, as you can see all the prizes up there, we had so many donations from local businesses, local restaurants. Forgotten Star is always so good to Fridley Public Schools. They donated a ton of stuff. Our families went out and picked up a lot of this stuff, which was amazing. So it's like this multi-step process of we engage our families, and then they even go out to the greater community and brought in all these donations. We had donations from Pub 42 and all of these different things, and tons of things for kids too. And so it was a really, really awesome event. We hope to just keep growing it and fill our gym even more than it was this year. And then Springbrook Foundation was incredible to us this year. I was able to go and present at a board meeting there. They were so gracious to match what we were able to fundraise. We all know that Springbrook is a highlight for so many of our students and our teachers. We also know costs are very expensive and just for everything. The Springbrook Foundation was so generous. I came in and we just talked about what it means to our kids. They knew how much that partnership meant to our school and just how many generations of kids have come through there. It's been a partnership that's lasted for a long time. So we were able to raise half the amount of money for fundraising through different things at Fridley Middle School, and then they actually matched that, so we could send a lot of students there as well. This was obviously something that we were able to open our doors for as well. Again, Sharon Wicks got a top teacher award from Fox 9. Just an awesome event. She was very much taken off guard by this and was able to win this award. We had, for the first time, I think, ever maybe, we took our entire school over to the auditorium, and we literally had to have teachers stand in the aisles because it was that packed, and it was awesome. Our kids were great. They cheered on Sharon, and it was just a really fun event. I can play this. It's like a minute long. Maybe not. I don't know if there's volume to this. Guess not. So this was just kind of the day of the event. We surprised our staff and students. They didn't know that we were there to present an award. They thought we were kind of doing an MCA like excitement, like motivation thing. And so they all showed up and they were like, "What are we here for?" I'm not joking. We had
Wick's dedication helping two of her special needs students participate
we had a
in a school
million.
play.
Well, students and staff at Fridley Middle School are celebrating Fox 9's newest top teacher.
Fridley Middle School's top teacher is Mrs. Sharon Wick.
Well, 700 students gathered to see our Hannah Flood surprise Mrs. Sharon Wick with a Top Teacher Award. Along with the award, Mrs. Wicks gets a pizza party for her students and $1,000 for her classroom.
Mrs. Wicks has worked at Fridley Middle School as a paraprofessional for more than 20 years. The parent who nominated her was recently impressed by Mrs. Wicks' dedication, helping two of her special needs students participate in a school play.
I mean, our day goes by fast because it's tough, but it's fun.
Although she is a paraeducator and works with some of our students that may have special needs, she also makes a huge impact on our whole entire community. She's out in our hallways, she's interacting with students, she's helping in our classrooms, and so she really makes a big impact on our entire Fridley Middle School staff and community.
Mrs. Wick says she loves to see her students get opportunities to participate in all activities and extracurriculars, and she says she hopes all paraeducators feel valued for doing a challenging but very rewarding job.
That event was so cool. Like I said, we took everyone kind of off guard, teaching staff as well. They were asking myself and Dr. Cochran a million questions about why we were going. So just overall, we're so thankful for all of our amazing partnerships, both with our families who have students in our building, but really also the greater Fridley community. One of the most beautiful things, as we all know about our school district, is we are small. And that means that we have amazing relationships with the families in our building, but also the greater Fridley family. So thank you for that. I will pass it off.
That's all we have. You guys have any questions for us?
Nope, no questions. Thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
And as a parent of a kid that's at the middle school, you guys are doing a fantastic job. So really appreciate you.
I was told also, go Wolves. I have to sign off.
Go Wolves.
All right, excellent work, Fridley Middle School. Very much appreciate all of the data that you shared, your work with Lavinia, and I'm really excited to see how we're doing with Summarize. Dr. Cochran told me last week, I think she said, we have 208 students registered, and I was so excited about that. So thank you for your belief in the work. Next, I would like to honor Dr. Jason Bodie. He is being a baseball dad tonight, so he wishes he could be here. Tonight is his last board meeting. He is headed up as assistant soup to Cambridge's Santee. Dr. Bodie, before being in the Director of Teaching and Learning role, served as our principal at the FCC for Early Childhood Program and at the ALC, and just did amazing work there. The program was just getting started with the VPK and all of those pieces, so he really set Fridley up with a solid foundation there. And in his Director of Teaching and Learning role, lots of work around the literacy components that we're seeing, working on our IB. He's really spearheaded AVID, and I'm very proud of the work he's done with bringing our new database for Aubrey. So we wish him nothing but the best, and I'm so proud of him as he enters into the assistant soup role. And we are very excited to honor Mr. Zarley, our AP at the high school. He was recently named Minnesota Association of Secondary Principals Hennepin Division Assistant Principal of the Year. So we are so proud of him for the work that he does. And if you see Mr. Zarley in the halls, you know he has excellent relationship with our students and our families, and we're just very proud to have him recognized and to have him a part of Fridley. All right, I'm a little bit sad about this slide, but it's bittersweet. As you know, this year we launched our, I don't know if it's new, but returning student school board members, and we're so excited. We have a junior and a senior, and we unfortunately have to say goodbye tonight to Deo. And Deo, you have just brought such an energy and so much information, and alongside Decca have brought that student voice that we've so much needed and wanted here in Fridley Public Schools. And while I wish your time would have been the whole year, the amount of energy that you brought to our board and to me personally has really been unmatched. And I know that you will do so well at the University of Minnesota, and you just have such a bright future, and you make us very proud. So thank you so much for your service. All right, next up, we are going to talk about budget realignment. School districts across the state, you have seen, probably heard things like budget reductions, cuts, realignments, terms like that. Fridley is also in a situation where we need to really look at working our way to being fiscally healthy. So tonight what you'll hear is a presentation around fiscal health, but what you'll also see is really how are we taking some opportunities in our district and really working to ensure that we're prioritizing the student experience and teaching and learning. So tonight you'll hear about the why behind this restructuring that you're going to see. We'll talk about the 5-year financial forecast. The 5-year financial forecast board is not new to you. You'll also hear that later on in the evening when Jason Munzenberger, our CFO, talks about referendum. So you'll see this 5-year forecast come in here, and a couple other documents come in this presentation, as well as under a referendum. Serves different purposes, but I just wanted to let you know that you'll see some duplication there. We'll talk about that historic state funding that we received across the state of Minnesota last year. How are we prioritizing our resources to our schools? What does our central office reorganization look like? And we'll touch a little bit in this presentation around referendum, and then Jason will talk a lot more about referendum. The why, our current reality. Like many districts in the state of Minnesota, Fridley is seeing significant enrollment decreases. In districts of our size, the proportionality of decreases that we're seeing hits us a little bit differently than when you see bigger districts. So as you can see here, we've had that continued decline in enrollment at Fridley Public Schools. Birth rates are also down within our district, but there's also some other pieces here that I wanted to share with you. The 5-year forecast that you see is built on these numbers that Jason worked on with our financial advisor, Ellers. And you'll see our trajectory here is showing us that continued decline. This slide, however, is changeable. for us. This is something that we can do to really change the trajectory around what our enrollment looks like. As we look at Fridley Public Schools, we do really well when it comes to open enrollment. 1,296 students choose us that do not live in our resident district. I think that's a really big deal. I think that's a really big deal. I think that speaks very highly of the program that we offer to our students. And just as a reminder, a lot of folks think it's Northwest suburban districts that bring the largest open enrollment to us, and it's actually Columbia Heights. So that's exciting to have that. One of the areas where I think we have potential for enhancement is the students that don't choose us that live in our district. So we have 1,271 resident students that don't choose us. 694 are at other districts. With the exception of Spring Lake Park, we actually gain more students from every other district than we send out. So that's a good piece. And you'll see here, right after that is charter school. And then you'll see 150 for non-public, and then 33 for homeschool and 20 for online. I really think that we have great potential as we talk further in the presentation around a newly envisioned cabinet position. And just how do we really work with our families of newborn babies in Fridley Public Schools so that they see all of the greatness that we have to offer. One of the pieces too, just to help, because oftentimes when school districts think about how to get to a place of fiscal health, we often think of budget cuts and we think of referendums. Really, the biggest driver for Fridley is going to be our enrollment. So each student roughly generates about $13,000 in revenue. So you'll see with these numbers, as we capture more of our market share back into Fridley, you'll see that we'll get fiscally healthier. Here, again, this slide will be duplicated tonight. This is not a new slide for you. As you look at this, we're at $599 for our levy. You can see we're significantly below state average and markedly below metro average. So this is also an area, if the board so chooses to go to the voters for referendum, this is an area that we can enhance our fiscal health. I have to be honest with you. When Jason Munzenberger first said this information to me, I don't always wear my expressions on my face, and I think he knew exactly when he said this to me. We have $2 million a year going to what I call should be in our buildings funds, our long-term facilities maintenance. $2 million was coming out of our learning bucket. I find that unacceptable. This is an area also, as Jason reviews question 2 of our referendum that we're proposing that the board will vote on June 18th. If we can get this $2 million out of the learning bucket, that will significantly also improve our fiscal health and our fiscal outlook. The next slide is not new to you as well. This is with those enrollment numbers that you saw. So again, as we really work to have a concerted effort on our enrollment, these will change. I will tell you, and Jason will emphasize this as well, regardless if question 1 and or question 2 passes, we do not get that payable until 25-26. So just something to look at. I think the board has made a commitment about prioritizing teaching and learning in our district, prioritizing healthy wages and benefit packages, and I think that shows. I think that really shows, and you've all shown your investment in our employees. And I think, again, this picture, we need to work on it, and it can look different as we continue with the pieces that Jason's going to talk about and with our enrollment. The next piece is, again, a duplicate slide here, not new to you. This is also not unique to Fridley. we continue to have the formula allowance just hasn't kept pace with our inflation, and so we'd be realizing an additional $4 million if it had. This slide always gives me a stomachache. We'll move on from that bad news slide. The next slide is, we heard, I was still in North Dakota at the time, but I heard loud and proud so much about this historic funding that came in Minnesota in the last legislative session. I'm not saying that's not true. What I am saying, and what you'll hear from many school districts, is along came several other mandates that were piled on top of unfunded or underfunded mandates. We don't disagree with safe and sick time. We don't disagree with unemployment insurance for our hourly staff. We think that's fantastic. Paid Family Medical Leave Act. I think we can all agree the READ Act is several years overdue. We don't disagree with any of this. However, bringing these forward ate up the additional historic funding that was received. So that's something that if the board chooses to move forward with referendum, we need to really be really clear about what the historic funding brought. And other districts have really done a nice job with that. And I know when he was board chair, Russ Meissner did an op-ed talking about this as well. So this is just a piece to be mindful of as we continue. This reorganization also continues our commitment of prioritizing safe learning environments in our schools. We have been committed to fully staffed. Yay! I think there's a few districts that can say that. Fridley can loudly say that. We are continuing with that. I think we're at 29 international teachers, or international staff, and I think we're bringing how many more? Yeah, so we're really excited about that, and that helps to have our buildings healthy. It helps us with meeting the needs of students served on IEPs. It helps us so that our teachers actually get planning and prep time. It helps us so that our para-educators get their designated breaks that they're entitled to, and as an employer they should be having. It really helps us. Another piece that we have is not unique to Fridley. We are served by an intermediate 916. 916 is doing the best they can. They have our Setting 4 program, and we are not able to get our students off the wait list. And during the board tour, I think you saw some of that, where we are serving students, a tiny number of students that's needs meet a Setting 4 program. We're serving them in our neighborhood schools. And our students that need a Setting 4 program need a Setting 4 program. So we're opening up a Setting 4 program. And there's more information in the slides. Also, we're adding special education behavior intervention teachers, 1 per building. The special education behavior intervention teachers will help us with that first line behavior support. Also, special education funding is really important here because we get reimbursement on this. So it impacts our general fund differently than you would see if this was all general ed funded. Special education coordinators, as I talked about being fully staffed, we are getting more and more international talent and new to the profession special educators. What our international talent does really, really well is they know how to relate with kids. They know how to work with kids, etc. What is harder is understanding U.S. IEP process. That's also the same for new to the profession domestic teachers. So our special education coordinators will be really helping and supporting our talent, our international talent, and our domestics around that, so that our international talent, which some already are, can become independent in that IEP process. So we're really excited about that. And again, same as I talked about with the behavior intervention teacher, special education, our coordinators are also eligible. The district is for reimbursement. When I toured a year ago now, our schools, what immediately stood out to me is our principals, particularly at the elementary. 99% of the time they're working on reactive behavior. And that's a reality. And we really need them to be in the classrooms working side by side with our teachers. We are bringing an assistant principal for each building, which our principals are thrilled about, and it just helps us as we continue to work to have these safe environments that are focused on learning. Along comes with this the need to be fiscally healthy. There's some significant terms that you'll hear me say, such as position eliminated, position eliminated. While you will hear that numerous times tonight from me, there's actually only 3 people that have already been notified who received layoff notices from our district. There's no more layoff notices coming. Those people have been noticed. Is this a very hard decision for our district? 100% it is. We also need to really work so that we can work on that pathway to fiscal health. What you'll see here under business and finance is our director of operations has been open since November. That position is eliminated. Our controller position will be eliminated. Within the area of HR, our director of HR and assistant director positions have been vacant. They will both be eliminated, and a human resources generalist position will be eliminated. Within the area of transportation, our coordinator position has been vacant since February of 2024, and then our assistant coordinator has put in her resignation. Congratulations to her. She's going to Anoka Hennepin, so we're excited about her being able to have that promotion, and her last day with us will be June 6th. We are not going to fill that position. The communications area, as you recall, the director of communications position was eliminated in April of 2024. Matt Carlisle, one of our communication specialist, resigned in April. We will not be filling that position, but Mary Henry is here, and she will continue with us in her role. Within the area of buildings and grounds, we've had a building coordinator position vacant since May of 2024. We are not going to be filling that position. The ALC FCC, I talked about this a little bit when I talked about our setting 4. Our ALC is coming over into our high school for programmatic reasons, as well as to give us the space for the setting 4. The principal of Alternative Learning Services in Pre-K, who is Renee Van Gorp, who's here as an interim, that position has been eliminated, and our ALC teacher on special assignment position has been eliminated, and that teacher has another position in the high school. From that, we do have Carrie Verachek, who is going to serve as our assistant principal of our FCC. I'll talk about, or of our ALC, I'll talk about FCC in a moment. Our director of teaching and learning, as I shared, Dr. Bodie, is headed to Cambridge Isanti. We are eliminating that position. Culture and climate. We have a culture and climate coordinator position. That position has been eliminated. Our FMS student achievement specialist has been vacant since November of 2023. That's also an ESSER funded position. We don't have ongoing funds for that. That position has been eliminated. We do have an FHS student achievement specialist. That position was offered on a 1-year contract, and that position has been eliminated as well. Okay, now we'll get to some excitement. So you see some faces in our audience. Some are familiar to us and some are new. So I want to share about our central office positions. We're getting leaner, but we do have some new additions, which I'm so excited about. Alota Sims is going to be our equity coordinator district-wide. Alota, do you mind standing up? Thank you, Alota. I'm going to read the bios here of our folks. You don't have to stand during the bio, but you can. She's like, how long am I supposed to stand, Brenda? I am absolutely thrilled to announce the promotion of Alota Sims to the district's Equity and Inclusion Coordinator position. Miss Alota Sims has dedicated 12 years of her career in Fridley Public Schools. She showcases a strong commitment to education and community engagement. Her diverse roles within the district include serving as the outreach liaison for 4 years, where she actively connected with various stakeholders to foster collaboration and support. Additionally, she spent 4 years as a cultural liaison, bridging gaps between different cultural groups and promoting diversity within the district. Ms. Sims further demonstrated her dedication to equity and inclusion by assuming the role of lead specialist in this area for 2 years. In this capacity, she spearheaded initiatives aimed at creating a more inclusive and equitable environment within the district, ensuring that all students and staff felt valued and respected. Throughout her career, Ms. Sims has proven herself to be highly motivated and passionate about her work, consistently striving to make a positive impact on the educational experience of students and the broader community. Her contributions have undoubtedly played a significant role in promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion within the Fridley School District. Ms. Sims' dedication to impact learning and school culture is very important in creating a supportive and inclusive environment where every student feels valued and motivated to learn. Congratulations, Alota. All right, next, I'm absolutely thrilled. Liz was not able to be here tonight, but I'm absolutely thrilled to share about our district AVID director, Liz Jensen. We are excited to share that Liz Jensen will be our new AVID district director. Liz has been part of Fridley for the past 14 years as a teacher at Fridley High School. In addition to teaching AVID, language, Lang and Lit, and reading in her time at FPS, she has also been the high school AVID coordinator for the past 6 years. Before working at Fridley, she taught 5th grade and worked in adult basic ed. She also serves as an IB network educator and works with the IB Equity and Excellence initiatives to enhance IB's success in urban schools. When she is not at school, she's usually spending time in northern Minnesota camping, hiking, and swimming with her husband and 2 children. Congratulations to Liz. Harold, do you mind standing up? Next, we are absolutely thrilled to introduce Harold Scott, our Senior Officer of Academics and Innovation. And to Harold's left is his wife, Darlene, so thank you for joining us. It's with great pleasure that we announce the appointment of Harold Scott as our new Senior Officer of Academics and Innovation. Harold brings a wealth of experience, 24 years, to the role with a proven track record of prioritizing student success and fostering a culture of innovation. Throughout his career, Harold has consistently championed student-centered learning environments across various roles. At Cottage Grove Middle School in South Washington County Schools, where he is currently serving as principal for the past 6 years, Harold has spearheaded initiatives that resulted in the school becoming an AVID National Demonstration School in 2024. He is a strong advocate for equity and inclusion, demonstratively increasing graduation rates for EL students by 20% within 2 years, and diversifying participation in advanced courses. His commitment extends beyond academics as he played a key role in securing in-school mental health support for students. Harold's diverse experiences includes roles like PBIS coach, district administrator, and principal on special assignment. In these positions, he honed his expertise in conflict management, EL coordination, and supporting the needs of the American Indian community. He also possesses in-depth knowledge of AVID and talent development programs. Harold holds a bachelor's degree in mass communications and speech communications from St. Cloud State, a master's in ed from University of St. Thomas, and K-12 principal licensure from St. Mary's. With his dedication, experience, and qualification, Harold Scott is poised to make a significant impact on Fridley Public Schools. We are confident that Harold's leadership will be instrumental in advancing our academic excellence and fostering a spirit of innovation that empowers all students to thrive. Congratulations, Harold. Next, I'm going to ask Rochelle to stand up, if you don't mind. Rochelle Cox is our new Senior Officer of Operations and System Alignment. Congratulations to you, Rochelle. I'm pleased to introduce Rochelle Cox as Senior Officer of Operations and System Alignment. Rochelle has more than 33 years experience as an educator in the cities of St. Louis and Minneapolis. She started her career in the St. Louis, East St. Louis area as a special education teacher, specializing in inclusive practices and assistive technology. Rochelle joined Minneapolis Public Schools in 1997 as a teacher in special assignment in the Early Childhood Special Ed Department. She has since served in several leadership positions, including Executive Director of Special Education and Health Services and Associate Superintendent. She has also led departments such as Services for Students Receiving Homeless, Highly Mobile Services, Homebound Services, and Mental Health Services. She has served on several boards, including the Minnesota Association of School Administrators, Association of Metropolitan School Districts, Generation Next, and Achieve Twin Cities. Getting tired by your bio in a good way. Rochelle also served as interim superintendent at Minneapolis Public Schools and has done so since July 2022. She stepped into this leadership position shortly after playing a key role in settling a 14-day teacher strike, which followed 2 years of unrest in Minneapolis after George Floyd's murder and the COVID pandemic. She is honored to have served as a catalyst of healing for Minneapolis Public Schools and proud of the district's increase in graduation rates, enrollment stabilization, and ongoing learning loss recovery. Ivana, I thought of you when I read this next line. Rochelle and her husband live on a horse farm north of the cities. They enjoy spending time with their 2 adult daughters, their families, and their beautiful new granddaughter. Rochelle is absolutely thrilled to be joining the Fridley Public School family. Go Tigers. Congratulations, Rochelle. Thank you. I just have 2 more here. Dr. Fearing, do you mind standing up? I'm honored to introduce Dr. Amy Fearing, Director of Early Childhood and Family Community Engagement. It is with great pleasure that I announce Dr. Amy Fearing as Director of Early Childhood and Family Community Ed. With 24 years of experience in public education, including 12 years in school and district leadership, Amy is thrilled to bring her passion and expertise to Fridley Public Schools. As a dedicated educator and parent of 3 children, Amy understands the importance of quality of education. Having served as a teacher, principal, and in various leadership roles, including the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning and Chief Academic Officer in Minneapolis Public Schools, Amy is committed to ensuring every student receives an excellent education. In her current role, she oversees departments such as early childhood, special education, community education, core academics and instruction, K-12, American Indian Ed, Office of Black Student Achievement, Office of Latino Achievement, and multilingual that includes English learners and dual language programs. Amy is excited to work alongside Dr. Lewis and the Fridley community to advance our strategic mission and vision, starting with our youngest learners. Let's move forward together. Go Tigers. Congratulations, Amy. And last, but certainly not least, I'm going to make you stand. And you can stay standing during your bio. I'm so proud of Lori. So Lori has had the title of, you can sit if you want, it's up to you, Director of Administrative Services, effective April 1. Such a big congratulations to Lori on her promotion to Director of Administrative Services. We're excited for continued leadership at Fridley Public Schools. I think any of you that peruse our social media can see just how she is going above and beyond in communications and so many other areas. Lori is a familiar face within Fridley Public Schools, having served as the executive assistant to the superintendent and school board since May of 2015. Her dedication extends beyond her role as a proud parent of 2 Fridley Tigers, Ethan, who will be graduating this year, and he has a fabulous roommate that he will have at the U of M, along with a 3rd roommate. And then he has Aiden, or she has Aiden, who will be class of 2025. Lori and I are both going to miss the lunch bunch that comes down with Ethan and crew every day. You can often find Lori cheering on our students at sporting events, concerts, and theater productions. Lori's connection within the district runs deep, known for her calm demeanor and ability to handle numerous projects with a smile. She is a valued voice across Fridley Public Schools, and she didn't know until I told her that she's known as the mom of the district. So I think that's a fitting role. In her her new role, Lori will continue her executive assistant role and oversee district communications, enrollment, and MARS reporting. She will also be a key member of the superintendent's cabinet. So proud of you, Lori, and congratulations on your well-deserved promotion. Okay. Give me just a second. So now there's just a few more pieces I wanted to share about our budget reductions. We are also really working, CISO has helped come alongside us to identify significant expenditures and contracted services for facilities and grounds that we will be able to not be making as we move forward. And another area that we will have cost savings is our ALC lease will move from the general fund to special education reimbursable. CISO, as you know, has been walking alongside us beginning really in October. And so the work that CISO will do for us moving forward is to serve in our HR department as HR director and HR generalist. Tonight, you have Jason Munzenberger here as our Chief Financial Officer and Controller and other functions. We are keeping payroll and accounts receivable in-house. Those will still be here, Fridley Public Schools employees supervised by Jason. Then our Transportation Director and Assistant Transportation Director will be the responsibility of CISO. And I have to say that CISO came in at a time where we had a lot of areas for enhancement, and you've heard about that. And I often forget that the folks that are contracted services under CISO are actually not Fridley Public Schools employees. So I think that's a really good thing when I have to remind myself, oh, Jason's not on Fridley Public Schools payroll. So that just talks about the power of the relationship that we've had with CISO. These budget realignments total us a savings of approximately $800,000. I would be remiss if I said this was the only reason that we're doing it. It's really about how do we prioritize teaching and learning and that support to schools. Again, I won't dwell on this too much. Our key here is our enrollment. And if we can all speak positively about the pieces in Fridley Public Schools, small class sizes are I'll share personal, local, and immediate. My two girls came home a few weeks ago and were like, we're going to go up for softball. And I'm like, I'm sure they're live streaming this right now, so I'm going to be careful. I'm like, that is amazing. And on the inside, I was like, you have never held a bat. And this is the last thing I need in my life is to become a softball mother. Not that I dislike softball, but we have enough going on. However, my girls have thrived on the team. In a bigger school district, this would not happen. Our fine arts programming is off the charts. These are pieces that I think we haven't gotten our stories out about. I think there's a certain narrative that happens about Fridley Public Schools that just is not factual. And when our employees truthfully talk about the positive things in Fridley, I think that impacts our families. I think it impacts prospective families. And this budget presentation is going out in a video message tonight to our staff. And I do talk in there about, I would love if you could join alongside of us and really work on helping us with our students. Let's really work from the moment our students are born in our district to ensure that they understand we value them. And there are so many great things about Fridley Public Schools. The piece here, one more piece that's influencing that Jason's going to talk more in depth about is our referendum. I have said and will continue to say the referendum is a helper for us. As we look forward into our fiscal future, that's a helper. That's not our complete fix. However, the school board is going to be entertaining a vote on June 18th, whether or not we pursue that, and there's more information here in the slide deck. about our referendum. As I said earlier, this is going to go out in a video message to all staff after the consent agenda is actioned on by our board. I know this was a much longer superintendent update than I usually give. I just want to also thank the board. We've made some bold changes this year, and I just want to thank you for your trust in the work that we're doing, and I think you'll see with the talent that's in the room here. I think when I interviewed with you, I said to you, show me your budget and I'll tell you what you value. And I think we're seeing that talent coming through. So thanks for your belief in me. I think that's all around our budget realignment, or superintendent update, correct? Okay. Chair, I believe it's back to you for a referendum presentation.
Sure. Guess some? No? Okay. Yeah, so I think we'll hear about the referendum.
Well, good evening, school board. Dr. Lewis.
We're struggling this segue, Jason.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's all on you now.
There was a lot of great information in that last presentation. Well, we were here in front of you last month talking about referendum, continuing the conversation, and the same continues here this evening. Part of this is to offer the board opportunity to ask questions, provide feedback, have conversation, but it's also to get this out in front of the community, to let them voice their feedback as well as you consider making a decision here in June on a referendum. All right, purpose of tonight's presentation. So we continue to understand the current fiscal realities. Dr. Lewis did a wonderful job already laying some of that groundwork. I'll do a little bit more of that. Begin to organize our messaging for sharing those financial and referendum related information to the community. So if we do move forward, what are those pieces that we need to bring forward that will maybe catch their attention or help them be informed to make a decision on the referendum. And the third one is really just to continue to share information to assist the board with its decision-making process. So why does the district need additional revenue? You heard already tonight, declining enrollment. In the current year, we're at about 2,500 students, down from almost 2,700 last year, and we continue to see that slide. This is the driver of everything revenue and everything expense. And so this is the key to a healthy and financially stable district. And so as we move forward, I agree with Dr. Lewis that as we continue to look at marketing, continue to look at how do we drive enrollment, how do we bring those resident students back to the district and retain the ones that we have, that's going to be key to our fiscal health as we move forward. Why do we need additional revenue? I think simply the cost of operating the district has increased. We've seen that with inflation here in recent years. And that goes to the third bullet point of needing to stay competitive with other districts on salaries and wages. I think that's really important that we have staff that are paid appropriately and well, and that want to be here as well, right? And there's a cost to that, and that's okay. We can operate fiscally healthy in that way, but we need to realign some other pieces. Student costs also have increased, so there's more support needed for students across the system, which has increased costs. Dr. Lewis talked about unfunded federal and state mandates that continue, and then funding from the state has not kept up with inflation and the pace of needs. And that's the next slide, continuing to show that gap. $4 million, that's a massive number, isn't it? It does. It does. And that's an annual number, right? $4 million every year that would come to Fridley if the state funding formula had kept pace with inflation. That's a very significant number for every school district here in Minnesota. For us, it's $4 million a year. So why do we need additional revenue? I think some of those are pretty clear, right? There's a gap between the funding that we receive from the state and the cost of educating each student. To bridge that gap, school districts definitely rely on local taxpayers or those operating levies and referendums that require school board approval. A new operating levy would significantly impact our schools in a positive way and would allow us to maintain stable funding and invest in our future. it's only one component of this. You've heard Dr. Lewis talk about that. The referendum's not going to solve our financial challenges that we have. It's going to help us get to a healthy position. But that's just one of those levers we're going to have to pull in order to get there. The recommendations we talked about last month that we're bringing forward again is to go to the voters in November with two questions. The first one being an operating levy of $424 per pupil unit or per student. That would be in addition to the $599 we currently have in place. So we would not revoke and replace the current levy. We would ask for an additional levy. And that would be a 10-year levy that would start in place in November of 24. Question 2 is a bond referendum for $30 million. That's purely dedicated towards facilities and the improvements that are needed largely for deferred maintenance, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. Question 2 is not dependent on question 1 passing, is what we would recommend, because question 2 we know would help support general fund, and so we believe these should operate independently. Some voters may say, yep, I agree with question 2, but I don't with question 1, and that's okay. That would still help the Fridley School District. So question 1 with the operating levy referendum. The levy again would generate $424 pupil unit or student each year for 10 years. It would generate about $1.1 million. It's purely tied to enrollment, so as enrollment fluctuates, it's multiplied by that $424, and that's how we generate the $1.1 million. So if enrollment can increase, as we see that number go up, we'll be able to generate additional revenue. The revenue would not come until fiscal year 26, as Dr. Lewis mentioned. So next year's budget is going to show a budget gap. We're going to spend down fund balance. The budget realignment is certainly going to help with that as we head into next year. But this additional referendum revenue would not come till the following year. Tax impact on this question 1, for a $250,000 home, it'd be about $130 a year, or just under $11 a month. The average home value in Fridley is about $314,000, so that would translate to about $163 a year, or $13.50 a month. If the operating levy is approved, revenue from that levy will help stabilize the district finances and reduce the projected budget gap. It would also reduce the amount of budget reductions over the next several years. So again, we know there's multiple levers we need to pull here. Budget reductions or finding some additional efficiencies are certainly going to be part of that conversation. Enrollment is part of that conversation. Referendum is part of the conversation. And we'll continue to look for ways to close that gap. If the operating levy would not be approved, significant reductions would be needed for 2025-26 school year to help stabilize the finances. Reductions in future years will also likely be needed. You saw the chart with all the numbers on it for each fiscal year showing the declining fund balance. This isn't a one-year issue that we have. It's going to continue to grow, so we need to work on solving over multiple years. The district would likely need to consider scheduling another operating levy election in November 25 if we move forward with one in 24 and it did not pass. Again, this gap is going to continue, so we need community support in order to continue moving forward. Bond referendum is the second question. I think this is really the ticket to some financial stability for Fridley. The bond referendum would generate about $30 million, one-time money, because there are other district bond levies ending. An approval of the bond referendum would not increase taxes for residents, and that's for residents of any property value. So this is a great value and great opportunity for the community to support the school district without raising taxes, but it would have a significant benefit and impact not only on the facilities but the general fund as well. We've got a number of things we would do in there. We've kind of tried to bucket them into 3 categories. The first one is renovations and improvements at all district facilities. We need to replace broken furniture. We need to establish some replacement cycles of our furniture and equipment, even our building systems, so that we don't end up in this position where they fail and we're scrambling trying to figure out how do we fix it, how do we replace it, and those things. We need to create some sustainable plans. The renovations and improvements include some restroom updates, including transitioning to some gender-neutral restrooms for compliance, and then also replacing some activity and athletic spaces. We know we've got work to do at the stadium with the field and the track, along with some other things in that area with concessions and potentially restrooms, press box, those areas. We also know we have some needs at the pool that we need to have a full pool renovation. We do have continued deferred maintenance, as every district does. We own a significant amount of property in the community that needs continued investment in it. And so we'd be looking to replace windows that are past useful life, and doors, roofs, walls, things that are just at end of life or past end of life that need replacement. We'd be looking to improve those mechanical and structural systems, again, the things that are at end of life. And improving interior finishes. We've got flooring from 1993 in many of our spaces and buildings. Carpet should not be that old and still be used. You can't clean it very well. You can't extract what's there. So there's just some things that need to be replaced. And then safe and secure building renovations. We'd like to continue to enhance our vestibule entrances at all facilities, our door access controls around the buildings to make sure that they're secure. Some additional security features at all district sites. Think of things like cameras and some of the proactive measures that we take from a security standpoint. We don't like to talk in detail about security too much, as that's somewhat to ensure the safety of the students, and so we keep that internally as exactly what our protocols are. And then reconfigure a number of our parking lots, middle school being one of them, but also Stevenson would be one, to really try and improve safety, student safety in those areas. We know there's some challenges with just student safety and crossings and how the traffic maneuvers through there. So if the bond referendum is approved, several facility renovations and repairs will be completed. The bond will help the district catch up on renovations and repairs. And then the amount of revenue taken from the general fund to help cover facility renovations and repairs would be reduced. You heard Dr. Lewis say it's $2 million that we're currently spending. I'm estimating a conservative $1 million that we could take out of general fund. I think we could do better than that. There's a plan of how do we make this sustainable over a long period of time, right? $2 million a year out of general fund is going to deplete that $30 million very quickly. So we have to figure out how do we catch up on all of our deferred maintenance and then have the funds last. We're planning for 10 years so that we can get the facilities where they need to be and then continue our funding sources and budgets with a sustainable plan for those 10 years. If the bond referendum is not approved, funds will not be available to address those facility renovations and repairs. It will likely be necessary to continue using general fund to help cover those facility renovations, which means we won't be able to stabilize finances as quickly. And then the need for facility renovations and repairs certainly does not go away. They continue to take wear and tear and abuse every day, and so we'll likely need to consider another bond referendum if this one should not fail as we move forward into future years. So next steps, we did go out with Morris Leatherman and conduct another survey with the community. That survey is completed, and Morris Leatherman is just working to put together all of the data for that. We have not seen the results of the survey yet. That will be presented to the school board on June 4th. We'll have Morris Leatherman at the workshop to present that. On June 18th, using those survey results, we would then start to craft our messaging for the referendum. So what items do resonate with the community that we surveyed? Those are the things we would lean into. Which ones did not resonate, we'd probably let those fall away. We would still probably utilize the funds in order to achieve the things we need, but it's about how do we talk about it with our community. And then June 18th, the board will be asked to approve a resolution scheduling the election for November, along with approving review and comment, which would go to the Minnesota Department of Education for approval. It's a required document that the state has as you go out for referendums, bond referendums, and so you'll have that document in front of you. The board certainly has an option to say, no, I don't think the timing is right. right now, and have conversation there. But we'll have all the documents ready and prepared for you should you say, yes, this is the right time, we need to move forward with this, and that would be our recommendation. So those are the next steps. I'm happy to answer any questions this evening. And again, you'll have more information at the next 2 board meetings coming.
Any questions?
I do have questions.
Yeah, go, Sarah.
I appreciate the long-term plan. I really, that is very important to us. But one question, just to clarify, our current levy of $520, is it $525?
$5.99, yeah.
$5.99,
Yep.
thank you. What is the time frame on that? Like, when does that one expire?
Yeah, that's again, that was a 10-year referendum. I'm going to look back at others here. Matthew Hammer. Matt, do you know offhand on that one? We'll get back to you on that. I can't remember exactly how many years. We are partway into that. When we looked at it, it did not make sense to revoke it. We weren't within a couple of years of it expiring, for example. And so we felt it was best to go ahead and go for a second, two separate ones, yeah. That would still put us out a number of years before we'd be back to the community with that $5.99 again.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thanks, Jason. You always
Thank
put
you.
things in really easy to understand perspective. So
Yeah, thank you.
appreciate that.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
So now I think we're moving on to the business action items. We've all received the presentation from Ellers specific to the awarding and sale of the general obligation facilities maintenance and tax abatement bonds, series 2024A. Oh, there we go. Sorry. What were you doing waiting back there for? Again, I'm working on this transition.
I was looking up the operating question. Yeah, so taxes payable 29, to answer that question. Yeah, so good evening, members of the board, Dr. Lewis. We did take bids on the bonds that we talked about in April, and we ended up with good results. We ended up with 4 bidders this morning. Northland Securities was the low bidder, and they offered a 3.67% interest rate, which is about 3 basis points lower, or 0.03% lower than what we were estimating in April. So good results. The other 3 bidders were Stifel, Hilltop Securities, and Baird was the high bidder. So we ended up with 4 nationwide underwriting firms interested, with Northland being the low bidder. If you remember, we were issuing a portion of this is coming. About $3 million is going to be using existing revenues through the district's LTFM program that you receive on an ongoing basis. And then the other 2 components, the tax abatement portion and the facilities maintenance portion that qualifies as Category 2 for health and safety projects, is going to be included in the district's levy. But there is going to be no tax increase above what we were assuming that people would see going into the year. The district did receive, as part of the process, did go through a rating process. That there you saw the rating report as part of the report. The district was on a negative outlook as part of their current rating, and the district did get downgraded, and the main driver of that was reserves being much lower than were at the A1 category. So the district's now an A3 Moody's rated district. And that outlook is stable as we move forward. So Jason and Brenda were part of that call, did an outstanding job as part of the conversation, but it wasn't a surprise as we went through that process that the district did get a downgrade as part of that process. And I can let Jason speak to that.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple of comments around that. We were downgraded 2 notches, and that's not great, right? We'd like to hold our bond rating or see increases. And we've gone down 3 notches now here in a couple of years. And that's really, as Matthew said, that pressure on our fund balance. We're seeing that continue to decline, and the outlook doesn't look good. And so as a financial services company, Moody looks at that and sees some potential financial challenges for us ahead. And we are talking about that. We realize that. And so I think there's some certainly reality in that we're in a difficult financial position. We need to make some changes. and we need to see a better outlook. Next year, we're projecting about $3.6 million of continued spend down of fund balance. The budget realignment process that Dr. Lewis laid out will help with that, and we'll incorporate that into the adopted budget that we bring forward next month. And I'd like to say the work that Dr. Lewis is doing around budget realignment is the exact right thing that needs to happen right now. This is work that is supported by CISO, by me as your CFO. This is the right direction. We are not going to dig ourselves out of this hole right away. This is going to take some time, and it's going to take a number of those levers. This is a great first step with the budget realignment. A community support of a referendum would help. Continued turnaround of our enrollment would help. We'll continue to look at our budget and work on things where we can find efficiencies, find reductions that don't impact the classroom in significant ways. But we can still continue to be Fridley strong as we move forward.
So thanks, Jason. And I think big picture, right, the numbers came in right where we were assuming in April. So I think that's really good news. We're very pleased with the results, and would recommend that the board take action to accept the bid from Northland from this morning. And I can answer any questions folks have.
No, I think we're good. Thanks, Matthew.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a resolution awarding the sale of general obligation facilities, maintenance and tax abatement bonds, Series 2024A, in their original aggregate principal amount, fixing their form and specifications, directing their execution and delivery, and providing for their payment. The chair would entertain a motion to accept the resolution of awarding the sale of the general obligation facilities, maintenance and tax abatement bonds, Series 2024A.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Anna. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Keeler. This is a roll call vote. So roll call vote. Miss Anna.
Aye.
Miss Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Carnap is aye. Mr. Keeler.
Aye.
Miss Stark.
Aye.
Miss Ahmed.
Aye.
Mr. Bodway.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next on the agenda, we have a resolution accepting gifts, whereas School Board Policy 706 establishes guidelines for the acceptance of gifts to the district, and whereas Minnesota Statute 46503 states the school board may accept a gift, grant, or device of real or personal property only by the adoption of a resolution approved by 2/3 of its members. Therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Fridley Public Schools accepts with appreciation the following gifts received by the school district. The following persons donated to Hayes Elementary in the amount of $200, and the person or company was States Manufacturing. Again, the chair would entertain a motion to accept the gift.
So moved.
Well, that's not on mine. We also have another. Do you want to do this one?
No.
Okay. We also have a gift. The following persons donated to Stevenson Elementary: Sarah Jones, Rebecca Peterson, Kelly Vanderpool, and Nikki Anna.
Thank you.
120 white shirts for the kindergarten tie-dye project. The chair would entertain a motion to accept both of those extraordinarily generous gifts.
So moved.
That's a lot of work. 120.
Motion made by Keeler. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Stark. This is also a roll call vote. Miss Anna.
Aye.
Miss Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Carnap is aye. Mr. Keeler.
Aye.
Miss Stark.
Aye.
Miss Ahmed.
Aye.
Mr. Bodway.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, next we have a motion for the removal of policy 795, specific to school attendance areas and optional student transfers. Chair would entertain a motion to remove policy 795.
So
moved.
Motion made by Jones. Do I have a second?
second.
By Keeler. All those in favor can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have the chair would entertain a motion for the approval of projects with Apex, specific to the pool at the Fridley Middle School, hard surfaces at the Fridley High School, HVAC system at the Fridley High School and FCC. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Anna. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Jones. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. So this is the cool part. The chair would entertain a motion to designate representatives Decca Ahmed and Ayana Shobi to the new school member board chairs, for the school boards. Representatives, sorry, it's right there. School board student representatives.
So moved.
Do I have a motion?
You so moved. Yes.
Motion by Jones. Do I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Of course, that motion is going to pass. And Dale, thank you for your service.
Yes.
Like you've
Thanks so
been
much.
an inspiration to us, and your input and words have been extremely valuable. So, and not that you'll need it, but I'm pretty sure everyone on this board would gladly write you a letter of recommendation for anywhere you want to go. But
Thank you.
I kind of doubt you'll need it, but good luck anyways. Okay, next up we have see, now you're making me nervous every time you go like this. Approval for the 2023-24 classroom assistant program manager agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Anna. Do I have a second?
Second by Jones.
Second by Jones. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes. So we have the consent agenda. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion made by Keeler. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. So last up, we have some important dates. On May 22nd at the Fridley High School at 7:30 a.m. we have the Fridley High School signing day. On May 23rd at 5:15 here at the Community Center we have the ALC graduation ceremony. May 23rd at 7 p.m. we have the Fridley High School Choir Pops concert. I'm assuming that's at the District Auditorium. May 24th at Hayes Elementary we have World Culture Celebration at 2:15. No school on May 27th for the district holiday. On May 30th at 7 o'clock at Northrop Auditorium, we'll have the Fridley High School commencement graduation ceremony. On June 4th at 4 o'clock, we will have the Fridley Public Schools work session here, which is a different start time than earlier. On that same day, about 45 minutes later, at the Fridley Little League Fields, we're going to have Educators Appreciation Day, sponsored by Fridley Youth Baseball. On June 5th, we have a preschool celebration day at the Fridley Community Center. Last day of school is June 6th. June 7th, there will be no school. It'll be a planning and evaluation day. And then on June 13th, there is the Fridley 49ers Day Parade, which is on a Thursday, which will be in this neighborhood essentially. Encourage you to come out for that. And then on June 18th, we have a Fridley Public Schools Board meeting here at the Community Center with the 5:30 work session, 7 o'clock public forum, and 7:30 business meeting. The chair at this point would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Board Chair.
Yes.
Can you look back on your agenda for letter F? Did we?
Letter F is the important dates.
Okay. The proposal. On mine it says the special ed renovation proposal. Is that under the consent agenda? Did that get moved under the consent agenda? Okay, sorry, mine
Okay.
was.
I also just got a message, May 23rd, 7:30 a.m. middle school academic success presentation.
I should know that. My kid's gonna be there.
There you go.
And playing in the jazz band. I know. Can we strike that from the record?
I won't tell him.
It's too late now. Brenda's kids picked it up. They're recording it. They'll share it with them in school tomorrow.
Zoom in. So she's wondering why we can't zoom in on the board meetings.
Okay,
She's live streaming it.
I like it.
Well, good. Maybe now's a good time to ask her if she can babysit again for me soon.
She heard that and she'll text me.
Okay, are we all good?
Yes.
Okay, so now at this point, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes, and we're adjourning at 8:58. Thank you, everybody.
Go Wolves.